Hello, hello. How are you guys? I wish we could converse. I guess we could on Zoom. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get you guys started. So, if you tuned in yesterday, the whole issue with hips is the fact that we're in this crunched, tightened position so often throughout the day, and all that does is create back pain, creates hip pain, can actually affect your knees. So super important to open those hips up. The older we get, the less stretchy, there's a word for it, it's not coming to my brain. The less stretchy your muscles get. I can see the notes coming in right now. Hi, Marilyn. Hello, everybody. Anyway, so we're gonna start as we typically do often in a quadruped position. So you're gonna come down on your hands and knees. You might want a mat or something under those knees. Kathy Morgan, I know you're out there and I know this bothers you. So we are just gonna start by rocking. Sorry for the extra noise. But just like you would, and for you, if it feels good to take that leg out to the side, this definitely will get into your hips a little bit more. So just trying to mobilize the joint a little bit. And this is a great thing to do. I know it's kind of weird if you're at work, kind of tough to do this, but if you're at home, this is great to do throughout your day to just loosen those hips up. Especially as women, we tend to carry a lot of stress in our hips. So trying to take care of that will help us in a lot of different facets, but especially stress. So just rocking back and forth, definitely helpful. From there, we're gonna go into a kneeling hip flexor stretch. So if you need to put a pillow underneath you, or if you did tune in yesterday, you can actually sit off the edge of your chair, and I'll show you both of those ways to position yourself. So you would just be in a half kneeling stretch and really feeling that in the back hip. And again, here you can rock back and forth, or as I mentioned, you can be up in a chair and just hold the hip flexor stretch off the side of your chair. As such, you can't rock back, obviously, in this position, but you can definitely feel the hip flexor stretch. And then whether you're on the floor or in the chair, if you reach that same side arm up and over, that definitely gives you a nice long stretch down the side of your body. So go ahead and change sides. The back foot I just have released. So again, you're just gonna try to open up that back hip and rock back and forth. Oftentimes too, when you get into that hip flexor stretch, you can reach back and grab your ankle and get a little bit deeper of a stretch. So just coming back and forth. Do that a few times. And on that last one, we'll reach up and over. So if you're on your chair, it's the same thing, just hang off the edge of that chair. So just feeling that, I'm feeling it down my left side. Okay, and then we're gonna come down to the floor, and you're gonna start in a 90-90 stretch. Now some of you, this might be good enough. So your one foot's out in front of you, the other foot's kind of in the back, and you're just gonna lean forward. Somebody's in class. Hopefully you guys can see me okay. If you want to take this up a notch, you can come into that full pigeon. And then it's just a matter of finding what's comfortable for you, coming down to your forearms, or stretching out overhead, or staying up top, whatever works for you. At times this can be challenging for some folks. So I have this handy dandy sandbag right here, or if you had a block or a pillow, you could shove that right underneath your butt cheek and that'll help support you. But you want to try to keep your hips nice and square here. Okay, then you're going to tuck that back toe, step your front knee back, and bring your back knee forward. And again, as always, you want to keep that front foot flexed. Try to turn your chest to direct to the front so you're really squared off through the torso, and then just sink into those hips. Always helps to send your breath right into here, right? So wherever you're feeling that tension, that stress, is where you want to breathe. So again, you have the option of coming down to your forearms or reaching all the way up. I'm going to stay right here today. So just taking a few breaths. You don't have to stay here forever. 3 to 5 breaths is good. All right, and the next stretch is a little intense, so I'm going to show you the side view option first, so you can get a feel for how intense or less intense you want to take this movement. So I'm just going to tuck my back toe and come out of this. So again, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me a little bit better. This one's called frog. And again, if this bothers your knees, don't worry, I'll show you how to do this from your back. So stay tuned. The way you would get into frog position, some of you may not be able to turn your feet out like this, your toes out like this, so it's perfectly fine if you want to stay in that position with your toes turned in. This is going to help you open your hips a little bit more if you turn those toes out, however. So coming down to your forearms, you'll notice that my hips are out in front a little bit. I'm just going to take a nice deep breath in, and as I exhale, I'm going to slide back to the point where I feel a stretch. Never pain, discomfort's okay, but I'm feeling the stretch right here. So if this is too much for you, you can come onto your back, grab your feet like this, and just place your elbows out on your knees and hold the stretch here. Okay, so I'm gonna go back into frog, but feel free to take those option, or that option, and just really sink back. Again, like 3 to 5 breaths is all you really need. If it feels good, you can also rock forward and then rock back as you exhale. So it would be a nice inhale forward, exhale, sit back. And what you'll notice is each time you come back into that stretch, you're gonna feel it a little bit deeper. So nice and easy. And again, if this bothers your knees, you can either slide a mat under you, or you can flip over onto your back and do it supine. Let's take one more breath here and let it go. All right, nicely done. So just come on up and let's see if you feel a difference in your hips. So I'm just gonna take my feet out in front of me. They definitely feel different. And then this is another great one. It's almost a counter pose, so to speak. So just taking your knees from side to side. I like to call these windshield wipers. I don't know what the technical term is, but windshield wiper works for me. So you're just gonna take those knees side to side. And again, this might be too much for some people. So you could just leave one here and then just work one hip at a time, going through a range of motion that works for you. Ooh, got a nice little click there. And the other thing you want to make sure you're doing or not doing is holding your breath. So breathe fluently in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I am sitting back on my hands. So just side to side. And this will lead us to a different stretch soon. We'll get there. All right, just bring those feet out in front and shake those legs out. And let's see what else we got here. All right, so from here, Easiest way for me to get into this position is just to put one hand out in front and prop myself forward. You may need to get into position in a little bit different of a way, and I can show you that in a second. But this is actually a yoga pose called the Hindu or Hindi pose, where your butt is way down, your spine is long, and your elbows are out on the insides of those knees, and you're just putting some pressure into your hands, the palms of your hands. Now, if you can't get into this position, you may just want to keep one hand behind you and prop the knees open, and then just one at a time switch. So you're trying to open each thigh up as you can, and then just making sure you alternate. Or you can just shift your weight forward and come onto the balls of your feet with your elbows on the insides of those knees. It took me a while to be able to get into this position. Also play around with the width of your feet. The wider your feet go sometimes, the easier this is to get into. And then we're just gonna rock side to side. Just a little rocking side to side. Hopefully you're not feeling any pain in that low back. If you are, then I definitely want you to get out of this position and come forward onto those hands, or put one hand in front, one hand in back. So just kind of rock side to side. And then we're gonna come all the way up out of that. Just shake those legs out. It's a little intensity for your hips. And a nice standing hip opener. You're just gonna swing the leg out to the side and then bring it back in. Do this a lot of times for the warm-up. And then let's go to the other side. So knee's gonna come up and above the line of the waist. Hearing some creaking and cracking. If you guys do have a light weight at home, that squat mobility drill is another good one. I'll show you a couple reps there. But you can always use that in your back pocket. Okay, so the squat mobility drill, you drop into a nice deep squat, hands come down to the ground, your hips lift up, your hips drop down, your hands come together, and you stand up. Now weighted, I don't have a light enough weight at home here, but nice, easy, I don't know, anywhere from 15 to 30 pounds, or the 16K kilogram kettlebell. You would be able to come down. This kind of helps you at least engage your core. Lift your hips, come back down, chest is up, you have that kettlebell, and you stand up. So that's the hip mobility drill that a lot of you know. The last one I want to show you is actually called a Cossack squat. Might be a little too intense for some of you, and that's a-okay. You can always choose to just come down to the floor and do those windshield wipers, but coming down into a squat and lifting the foot, the toes up towards the ceiling, and then just shifting your weight, lifting the toes up to the ceiling. Now as you get a little bit more open, you'll be able to keep that foot that you're bending on the ground, and then eventually, my right heel keeps lifting up, eventually you might be able to do this without even your hands on the ground. So just use those hands for support right now. Let's see if I can sit back. There we go. And just kind of go side to side. Ooh. And again, a few reps to each side will do ya. Nicely done. Come on in through center and just shake those legs out. That's all I got for you today. Hope you enjoyed that. If you guys have any questions, I'm gonna post this, but you can type your questions down below if you have any. I can also type the sequence up for anybody that thinks that they would do better seeing the sequence, so that you can repeat it I can throw that out there. All right. Have a great day. Maybe I will see you at 6 p.m. Get outside and enjoy that weather today. It is beautiful outside. Have a good one.